All right, I want to make a video really quickly to replace an old video I made about 4 years ago. This is the beginning of the virgin birth and the Trinity stories that we see all over the world. All right, so the people who originally wrote the story, I say people, wherever it originally came from, I deciphered text, got it from here. And what it was based on was something celestial. Now, the picture was you had one, and you can imagine like a big bang. So you can start there if you want to, but you had one, and then that one that existed by itself in an area or space that was just enough for it because it didn't need nothing else existed, and then it separated itself the way an atom divides, and so you have two atoms, right? But this spiritual being divided himself. I'm saying himself because the picture in the story goes to be that that's the father. That's how the story unfolds. You call it what you want to. So divided himself, and from him another being came, but had its own separate space now, you know, or a space was created for it as it was came into existence. So the Father existed by himself in what we're gonna call that space Leo, or the constellation Leo. We're gonna call it that because it's kind of what it grew into, according to the myth. This is where the myths come from. So the second being we're gonna call the mother came forth in the area that was created for it immediately as it came forth in Virgo. Uh, the mother turned around, but then the mother wasn't an exact duplicate of the father, but was a just a part of it grown from it. So it's made a similar being. They're not exact though. One is different from the other. One can, the father can bring the mother back into itself. The mother can't bring the father back into herself. The mother turns around and said, "I'm gonna do exactly what the father did. I do what the father did. The father, brought me forth, and the mother produced from herself. This is the third one. She produced a third being, which we're gonna call the son, which was born and gave birth. She gave birth to it, and it came into a place because a place that was demanded for it. Now, area was demanded for it. Now we're gonna call that place Libra. Now, we're doing this because that's how the myths are written. So that child that was born in Libra and was not as strong as the mother because the mother came straight from the source. And anything that is born of the mother that the father has nothing to do with, nothing that comes from anything other than the father can continue living. So that thing that came from the mother, it wasn't as strong. So it was weak through Libra. In astrology, they teach that the sun is weakest in Libra. I'm talking about the literal sun, the sun. So people born under that sign, yeah. So throughout that house, the son survived, but then got into the next house now, which brought forth a something that was going to damage the child. So a scorpion came into being now. It came, and this thing was born in Scorpio, and it stung the child, and the child was on a rapid decline. It wasn't gonna live. This mythology. You know what I'm saying? Because the child couldn't live. So at the end of Scorpio, you crossed on over, barely alive, crossed over into Sagittarius, where it was hit with the Archer. In Sagittarius, the Archer hit it, and now that's the death blow. So at the end of Sagittarius, the son is dead. So this is the original Trinity: Father, Son, Father, Mother, and the Son. Son was born of a virgin birth. Mom didn't have nothing, or dad didn't have nothing to do with it. So the child died. Um, we get into Capricorn, the tomb, the womb, and the child's energy enters into the tomb, which is symbolic of the womb, back into the mother, and all these things. But we're just gonna go with the tomb. And the mother was very sad. She was down. It was a down part. It was a very sad time for. Of course, Christ in the myth, the Christian stories. Christ died, and as the sun went from Sagittarius to Capricorn, and the sun's supposed to look like it stands still at that point, like it's dead. So, and then it's resurrected. Then he's resurrected. So in Capricorn, that's where the child was. The deadness was. You know what I'm saying? No more liveliness, but the energy was still present. But what she had created was gone. And so in Aquarius, the father pities the mother and decides, like, I'm not mad at you. You tried to do what I did. You know what I'm saying? That's natural. I understand. But what you produced was not going to survive without me. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I had nothing to do with it. So I see how much it affected you. So I'm going to reach in and touch this energy, and it's going to be able to come back with a newness of life, a resurrection. So in Aquarius, the child is touched. The what was left of the child, the energy that came from the mother, was touched, and a resurgence took place. So at the end of Aquarius, as we cross over into Pisces, you have the child growing again, the seed, you know what I'm saying, alive again. The pregnancy has started again. So all the Pisces, all the Aries, all the Taurus, that's 3 moons, all of Gemini, all of Leo, Cancer, Leo, all of Virgo, all of Libra, all of Scorpio. The child is coming into maturation and now going to come forth again in Sagittarius. As the sun crosses over to Sagittarius, now the child is born in the same house that it was slain in. So now it's born now with the power to slay any foe that will rise up against any other of those who will come from the mother and suffer the same fate. The same fate as what? Being born of the mother and not going to live, you know what I'm saying, and die, you know what I'm saying, because it wasn't touched by the father. Child can fight for the rest of the seeds that might come forth, like, you know what I'm saying. So this is your virgin birth, your father, son, your mother. This is the whole picture. You get it all over the world. Mithras, Krishna, you get it in we said Jesus, and we got Apollo, and missing one, Horus. You get them. They all over the world. And anyway, but this is just a story. Now it does play out in other places, and it plays out through the world with men and women. You know what I'm saying? And it's a nice story, but this is where it began. You know what I'm saying? So when you try to make it, when you people put it into their religions because they want the same energy. You know what I'm saying? You calling out for the same energy, but it's a story that came from the celestial. Now you can study astrology and see if I'm just making stuff up, but when you look at it, that's where the pattern starts. Anyway, so I talk about in my first book, this paper, I talk about where souls come and how they enter this earth. So the patterns played out in that as well. And just as the father and the mother are responsible for the first seed, because the father touched that seed, and now they came forth of the father and the mother. When the sun and the moon are lined up in the new moon, and the earth can't see the sun, it's just can't see the moon because the moon is right behind, is right in between them. So the moon is overshadowed. It's being fed by the sun during new moons. And now when I talk about in my book, I found out through Revelation, that's when souls are seeded to the earth. So I'll make another video talking about that and the relationship between the woman and the moon and her pregnancies and her giving forth of the child and the moons that it takes for this to happen, not the months, but the moons. So you can get a better understanding and see that it all fit together. When you get it straight, it's just all come together. The spirit brought to me and showed me the calendar that I put together, the OTEP calendar, the accountability calendar. It showed me and demonstrated all these things to me as well. So I'll put the next video together about that, and then I'm gonna slowly start uploading them. I gotta go to work now, so I'm running. I'm trying to do this real fast, and stay tuned. You know what I'm saying? Peace.